Welcome in to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, to our second news roundup of the day. And in this video, as you know, we are going to be discussing the latest in terms of transfers. What is happening on the transfer front right now? There have been a lot of discussions right throughout this international break with Barcelona acquisitions in mind. Today, we are going to be looking at our search for a midfielder, and that includes the likes of Adrien, Rabiot, Frenkie de Jong, and Ousmane Dembéleé. We're also going to be discussing the future of Ousmane Dembéleé, which ties in with the potential return once again that continues being rumoured of Neymar Jr. All of that and a lot more coming up right now. Let's do this. But firstly, guys, we are going to start with what I'm going to call the strange clauses section of the video. And this is basically a little section of this video where we're going to be discussing some really strange things that may or may not be included in certain players' contracts. I've got two examples for you, and we're going to start with Ivan Rakitic. And it was Sport who kicked off this section of the video. They reported on Rakitic's decision to stay at the club in the summer as opposed to leaving and joining PSG for big money. And it's Sport who say that in order to convince Ivan Rakitic to reject PSG, there was a 70 to 90 million euro offer for him, according to Sport. We rejected that. The player then was in two minds about making the move, and in order to make him stay, Ernesto Valverde and the club promised the Croatian midfielder that he would feature in every Barça match this season when he was available for selection. And right now, Ivan Rakitic has appeared in 17 appearances in all competitions this season, and that for me is mind-blowing. I'm really not sure that's true. I can't believe that that's true. I hope that it's not true, because as you know, every player, especially an elite club like Barcelona, they need to earn their spot. They should not be given anything for granted. And that there from Sport, that was massively strange to hear from me. And we're not done there either, because then came out another publication in Spain, and they say there was a special clause included in the deal that took Coutinho from Liverpool to Barcelona last January. And in that deal, the clause stated that Barcelona could not sign any Liverpool players for the next 3 years. And that's really interesting indeed. Clearly there, if Liverpool have managed to put that in Coutinho's contract, they are so paranoid of us taking their star players. You think back through the years, you think of Mascherano, you think of Felipe Coutinho, Luis Suarez, of course. Liverpool have lost a lot of key players to Barcelona, and clearly they want that to end, at least until the next 3 years. But look, guys, when those 3 years are over, if this is true, Liverpool, do not rest. We are coming for you. We're coming for your star players, and there's nothing you can do about it. But look, that aside, move on now to the serious stuff. We'll start with Adrien Rabiot, who has been widely reported right across the Spanish media, continuing to be linked with Barcelona. He has been linked, of course, right since last summer, really. The 23-year-old midfielder, French international, he is out of contract in the summer. In the summer, his contract at PSG will expire, and Rabiot will be eligible to sign a pre-contract agreement in January, which will let him go to another club for absolutely nothing. When the summer of 2019 arrives, he can go, providing that he doesn't agree a new contract at PSG, which is still on the table, and no doubt he wants more and more money. But right now, that new contract at PSG does look extremely unlikely, and given that PSG are so incredibly paranoid about Rabiot potentially leaving for free to join Barcelona, they are reportedly ready to offer Rabiot to every elite club in Europe for 10 million euros in January. They're going to let him go for just 10 million in January, simply because they don't want him to join Barcelona for nothing. They want to sell him elsewhere. Juventus are interested, and they want to try and get Rabiot, if he's not going to sign a new deal, send him somewhere that's not Barcelona. And that's very interesting indeed, because of course we are interested in Rabiot. He would command big wages, a big signing on fee. I'm not really behind the transfer, to be completely honest, but obviously come January, if PSG are trying to sell him for a cut price, he can still say no, and he can still sign that pre-contract agreement. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Another midfielder to discuss, and certainly one that we are definitely targeting, is none other than Frenkie de Jong, the Ajax midfielder, the Netherlands midfielder. Such a good young player, so much talent in this young man, and somebody really who's enjoyed yet another really successful international break on the big stage, really impressing for the Netherlands. They reached the Nations League semi-finals this week, and he's been so good, so consistent, and with these quality performances week in, week out, in the big international games, in Champions League games as well for Ajax, we are only going to see Frenkie de Jong's stature rise, and also his price tag. That's going to go up and up and up, and we're going to be seeing more and more clubs interested in this bright young player. But obviously, when you go for a good player, you've got to be aware of that. Manchester City's interest already has been widely reported in the media. Again, once again this week, widely reported in the English media that Man City and Pep Guardiola very, very interested in Frenkie de Jong. But I think we want him. We really want this guy, and I still feel like we're in pole position as long as we pay the money to go and get him when the time is right next summer. I think de Jong has grown up watching Barcelona. He knows that he fits the style of play. He's grown up watching us, idolising the likes of Xavi, Iniesta. He spoke about that last week. And I think de Jong, providing that we pay the money, we've got a good relationship with Ajax, I think it can work out. But like I say, we're going to have to wait and see. And then finally, with that midfielder search, we do move on to Dembele, because with that in mind, Sport have been discussing alternatives this morning if our moves for Rabiot and de Jong do not come off. And Lyon's 21-year-old midfielder Dembele has been occupying their front cover this morning. Sport say that Dembele is the alternative should Rabiot and de Jong both fail in the coming months, and that Sporting Director Eric Abidal has already made some initial contact with the players' representatives just to sound them out and see exactly what the situation is. And also, following our signing of Samuel Umtiti from Lyon as well, the feeling between the two clubs, Barcelona and Lyon, is actually very good. They've got a good relationship there, and that especially could help to come to an agreement should we go down the Dembele route. But now it is time to tackle one of the biggest stories that we continue hearing in the Spanish media and also the French media as well regarding Neymar Jr. It will not go away, even though Bartomeu, even though Pep Segura, they've come out over the last few months saying, look, Neymar is not going to return, but still, in the Spanish media, you still hear about Neymar returning to Barcelona. According to Sport this week, he came out, he told people close to him, Neymar told people close to him, I'm going to be at Barca next season. That's where I'm going to be. That's where I want to be. And even MD yesterday, usually a source that's really close to the club, really close to Bartomeu, they came out for the first time since he's left, and they actually said it is possible. It is possible that Neymar could return to Barcelona, and it all seems to tie around Ousmane Dembéleé, simply because if Barcelona do not want to stick with Dembele, there is a chance, perhaps, this is what the media are saying, that Dembele could go to PSG with a lot of his French colleagues alongside Kylian Mbappe, and then Neymar could go in the other direction and sensationally return to Barcelona. And it all comes down to these UEFA sanctions as well for Paris Saint-Germain. They are under really, really big scrutiny right now from UEFA for financial fair play, and Barcelona could reportedly help them out. According to MD, if Dembele went to PSG, he's valued at 85 million according to the books, and then they say that we could pay 60 million euros for the return of Neymar, and it would almost be like a swap deal to help them with FFP and get Neymar back to the club where apparently he really, really wants to be. But like I say, people have come out denying it. Officials at the club have denied it. They say Neymar will not return. I think it will be very, very difficult. I've always said I'm really, really struggling to see how it could possibly happen. But at the same time, you've got to accept this rumour will not go away. And finally, guys, we will talk about Ousmane Dembele himself, and so much has been said about Dembele right throughout this international break. It's been story after story after story, from interest from Liverpool, from interest from Arsenal, to an apparent video game addiction that apparently keeps him up at night. The papers have come out with all sorts right throughout this international break with regard to Dembele, and it just seems to me like a lot more noise from the media to fill some column inches. That's all it is right now. But the one thing that I would say to pay special attention to regarding Dembele over this international break has been the reports really that in the past few days has said the club is really, really keen now to support Dembele more than they ever have before. They're currently trying to work together with the player and his entourage to get more club staff around him, to get more Barcelona people in and around him in his everyday life, to better his environment on and off the pitch, and also make him more settled and much more comfortable in the city of Barcelona and the club. And that's basically exactly what we said just a few days ago in the video we did about Dembele. It's really, really important that we make this guy feel important, that we make him settle in, that we make him feel comfortable, make him feel wanted. That's what this young guy needs. That's what he needs to really, really see that full potential. And hopefully all of these things will come together and help him unlock that quality in the weeks and months to come at Barcelona. So that's basically all for today's News Roundup video, guys. So much has been said, like I say, over the last few days with regard to transfers, ingoings and outgoings at Barcelona. A lot is going to be happening from now right up until that January transfer window. And as always, I'll be right here providing updates as and when they happen. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys, related to everything that we have discussed in today's video. And of course, I will see you very, very soon indeed. A lot of build-up coming up for that Atletico game. It's coming. We have to be ready. I'll see you then, guys. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça.